The courtroom had been restless all morning, but when Dr. Yunhao finally stepped forward, silence fell like a shroud. Everyone leaned forward. Cameras clicked in frantic bursts, and the tension became unbearable. The world already knew this trial was extraordinary, an actress accused of orchestrating the downfall of one of China's most beloved stars, but no one expected the revelation that would turn the air in the chamber ice cold. The poison, Dr. Yunhao said in his combat-piercing voice, is still in his body. This is irrefutable. The words detonated in the hall. A gasp swept across the benches. Reporters scrambled to write, and the family of Menglong cried out as if the wound of his death had just been torn open again. Song Yiren, the actress once celebrated for her ethereal beauty and rising fame, trembled. She pressed her tissue to her lips, her hands shaking. Her shoulders hunched as though the weight of the world had suddenly crushed her down. Until that moment, her defense had relied on shadows, on the absence of clear proof, on the murky details of a tragic night. But with those words, the shadows vanished. The dead had spoken, and his body carried the testimony she could never outrun. To understand the depth of this shock, one has to return to that night, the night of September 11th. It had begun with laughter, the kind of evening that should have dissolved into stories retold with nostalgia. A private gathering. Dim lights casting golden warmth across the table lined with wine glasses. The murmur of conversation rising and falling like waves. Menglong arrived as the radiant center of attention, his smile quick, his presence magnetic. Friends described him as buoyant that night, unburdened, as though the weight of his career and the endless scrutiny of fame had lifted, if only briefly. But among the laughter, a silent storm brewed. Song Yiren was there too. Her beauty undeniable. Her aura tinged with something sharper, jealousy, resentment, or perhaps desperation. What truly coursed through her mind that night remains a matter of speculation. But the events that followed left little doubt about the fatal outcome. Recall the moment when Menglong lifted his glass. He had toasted, perhaps with a flourish, perhaps with a smile, to friendship, to the future, to success. The liquid shimmered under the light, crimson and unassuming. He sipped, as he had done countless times before, and at first nothing seemed amiss. Then came the falter, the subtle twitch in his expression, the sudden silence as his laughter cut short. He clutched at the table, his words slurred, his body convulsing. Chaos erupted. Friends shouting his name, chairs scraping, glass shattering. Within minutes, the night turned from celebration to horror. Menglong collapsed, and though there were frantic attempts to revive him, the life drained swiftly, inexorably, from his body. By the time emergency responders arrived, the room had fallen into a grim tableau, a star extinguished, his companions pale and trembling, and one woman, Song Yiren, standing apart, glistening but unreadable. At first, whispers suggested tragedy had struck by chance. Some speculated it was a hidden illness, a heart condition, a stroke. Others whispered darker theories, fueled by the cutthroat nature of the entertainment industry. Nothing concrete emerged until the body was taken for examination. It was there, in the cold sterility of the morgue, that the truth began to claw its way to the surface. Enter Dr. Yunhao, a man whose reputation preceded him. Known for his precision, his unflinching dedication to evidence, he had unraveled countless mysteries of death. To him, the body was never silent. It carried secrets in every cell, every bruise, every trace of substance left behind. The autopsy revealed what no rumor could. Menglong had been poisoned. At first the traces were elusive. A faint chemical fingerprint hidden among tissues. With persistence, Yunhao found it, residue in the stomach lining, toxins coursing through the bloodstream, remnants lodged deep enough that even time could not erase them. It was not the act of nature, nor the cruel twist of fate. This was human design, deliberate and undeniable. In his report, words that would later echo in court, the body itself provides testimony. The poison is his witness. Findings became public. The world convulsed. Fans screamed for justice. Hashtags blazed across social media. Who poisoned Menglong became the most asked question online. Suspicion immediately coalesced around Song Yiren. Her history with Menglong was complicated. They had been linked romantically in gossip columns. Yet insiders whispered of tensions, jealousy, behind closed doors. Some claimed she envied his rising popularity eclipsing her own. Others believed she feared personal secrets being exposed. Whatever the motive, the evidence pointed squarely in her direction. And so, when the trial commenced, the world watched with rapt horror. In the courtroom, the scene was surreal. Flashbulbs lit up the corridors outside. Journalists fighting for sound bites. Inside, the hush of anticipation was broken only by the steady scratch of pens and the faint rustle of paper. Song Yiren sat at the defendant's table, lawyer whispering urgently in her ear. She wore black, a color meant to convey solemnity, perhaps even mourning. But to many, it seemed a shroud of guilt. Across the room, the family of Menglong sat, their grief carved deep into their faces. Clutched photographs of him smiling, vibrant, alive, a cruel contrast to the reality of his absence. And came the moment. Dr. Yunhao entered. White coat stark against the wooden backdrop of the courtroom. He spoke with calm authority, recounting the process of discovery. Every step of the autopsy was laid out, each piece of data assembled into a damning mosaic. Described the chemical compounds, the timing of ingestion, the certainty that the poison had been delivered via the glass of wine. And then, the line that would dominate headlines: the poison is still in his body. This is irrefutable. The reaction was immediate. The judge's gavel struck for order as the chamber erupted in gasps and cries. Reporters dashed to their phones, typing feverishly. Family of Menglong sobbed openly, some collapsing into the arms of others. Even seasoned lawyers, hardened by years of trials, appeared shaken. For them, the case had transformed from circumstantial speculation into concrete horror. The dead man himself, evidence etched in his remains, had risen to testify. And what of Song Yiren? She froze, her eyes wide, her lips parting as though words might come but none did. The lawyer grasped her arm, whispering for composure. But the tremor in her hands betrayed her fear. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every flicker of expression, every tear that threatened to fall. The actress who once commanded red carpets with confidence now sat as a woman cornered, stripped of glamour, facing the abyss of justice. Some observers claimed they saw genuine shock in her eyes. Others insisted it was the panic of a guilty conscience finally exposed. Outside the courthouse, spread like wildfire. Screens across the nation flashed with breaking alerts. Anchors repeating the revelation, evidence still found in Menglong's body. Actress Song Yiren faces death penalty. Social media, outrage exploded. Fans demanded execution, calling her a traitor, a murderer, a disgrace. Others hesitated, questioning whether evidence, however irrefutable, was enough to condemn without exploring motive fully. Debates raged online. Some posts sympathetic, others venomous, but all united in obsession with the case. For the legal world, the significance of Yunhao's revelation was monumental. Rarely did forensic evidence carry such finality, such clarity that even seasoned defense attorneys struggled to counter. This case, one analyst noted, is the perfect storm of science, spectacle, and sorrow. It will be remembered for decades. As the court adjourned that day, the weight of what had been revealed hung over everyone present. The judge's words faded into the background as people filed out, stunned, silent, overwhelmed. Reporters clamored for quotes, microphones thrust into faces, but most could only shake their heads. One journalist wrote, "It was not just the courtroom that was shaken today. The very fabric of trust, of friendship, of fame." The days that followed Yunhao's testimony were a blur of frenzy. Surged outside the courthouse, holding candles, placards, and photographs of Menglong, chanting his name as though he could somehow hear them. Television networks replayed the moment of revelation endlessly. Commentators dissecting every word, every gesture. A tremor in Song Yiren's face. The trial had already been called the case of the century. But now it had become something darker, heavier, a collective obsession. Inside the courtroom, the proceedings grew even more dramatic. Witnesses were brought in, some tearful, some defiant, all with stories that added new layers to the tragedy. Former colleagues described arguments between Song Yiren and Menglong, whispers of jealousy, professional rivalry, and personal betrayal. Friends of the late actor recounted his final weeks, that he had grown suspicious, even fearful, though he never dared to accuse openly. Voice piled weight upon the prosecution's case, pinning the noose around Song Yiren's reputation and, ominously, her life. But nothing was as devastating as the cross-examinations. Asked about her relationship with Menglong, Song Yiren faltered. She denied wrongdoing, insisted she loved him once, that she would never harm him. Yet her words clashed with the cold certainty of science. If not you, the prosecutor demanded, his voice slicing through the chamber. Who? Who stood beside him with a glass? Who had the most to lose from his revelations? Who was seen whispering to him moments before he collapsed? Each question was a blade, and each denial from her lips sounded weaker than the last. Anger swelled to fever pitch. Hashtags surged, justice for Menglong, death penalty for Song, the truth in his body. Outside, fans wept openly, their grief transforming into fury. Flowers, letters, and candles flooded the steps of the courthouse, turning it into both a shrine and a battlefield of emotion. Haters declared it a reckoning for the entertainment industry, a reminder that glamour could not hide the rot of betrayal. International headlines screamed, actress faces death penalty in poison case and Menglong's body speaks from the grave. The climax arrived with sentencing day. The courthouse was packed beyond capacity, the atmosphere suffocating. Families, journalists, ordinary citizens, all pressed together to witness the end. The judge entered, his expression grim, voice resonant with finality. He addressed the court, reciting the evidence, acknowledging the testimonies, and affirming the weight of Dr. Yunhao's revelation. Of Menglong, he declared, spoke with clarity that no words could match. The poison within him is truth that cannot be erased. Then came the words that froze the air, Song Yiren, hereby sentenced to death. The room erupted. Some cheered, others cried. Simply sat in stunned silence. The family of Menglong wept openly, clutching each other, their grief mingling with a sense of vindication. Song Yiren collapsed, her scream piercing the chamber. Didn't do it, she cried, her hands clawing at the table as guards restrained her. The image of her being led away, broken and trembling, became the defining photograph of the trial. Outside, the crowd roared, chants of justice, justice, shaking the air. Candles were lit again that night. But this time the flames burned with the sense that justice, however tragic, had been served. For some, it was a balm. For others, it was another wound. A reminder that two lives had been destroyed, one taken by poison, the other consumed by punishment. The aftermath rippled through society. Entertainment companies released statements about integrity and morality. Law schools studied the case as an example of forensic certainty. Millions debated whether the death penalty was justice or vengeance. Dr. Yunhao, once just a man in a white coat, as the voice of truth, the figure who had given the dead the power to condemn the living. And yet, in the quiet moments, truth lingered. No matter the verdict, no matter the sentence, Menglong would never return. His body had spoken. His death had revealed betrayal. And his legacy now lived as both a warning and a lament. Song Yiren's name, once glittering in lights, became etched in infamy. The case closed with an image as haunting as the crime itself, the final photograph of Menglong smiling on a red carpet, placed beside the headlines of his death and the actress condemned to die. In that juxtaposition lay the cruelest truth, that fame, trust, and life itself can be shattered in a single poison glass. So the story ends where it began, with silence in the courtroom, the gavel falling, and the chilling reminder that sometimes the dead speak louder than the living.